Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something big. It's often pushed aside as maybe a morale thing, an HR issue,
Right.
but the source material we've got paints a very different picture. We're talking about a massive, measurable business problem.
A huge one. It's the cost of unrecognized remote work,
Yeah.
and it's staggering.
So, frame this for us. What's the core scenario we see playing out?
Okay, picture this. You've got a top performer, someone really delivering, hitting targets, doing great work from home.
The ideal remote employee.
Exactly. And then suddenly they resign. And when you ask why, the answer is just crushing.
What do they say?
Things like, I just felt invisible or unappreciated, forgotten, despite all the results they were getting.
Wow. And this isn't just an isolated incident, is it?
Not at all. The
Yeah.
data we're looking at shows, something like 82% of remote workers feel this way. Unrecognized.
82%, that's most of them.
It is. And this feeling, this recognition gap, it's not just hurting feelings. It's costing organizations about $1.9 trillion in the U.S. alone.
$1.9 trillion in lost productivity.
In lost productivity. And then there's replacement costs when people leave. We know replacing an employee costs anywhere from, 50% to maybe 200% of their annual salary.
So you lose productivity and you pay a fortune to replace the person who left because they felt unseen. It's a double hit.
A massive double hit. It's this hidden tax on businesses that haven't adapted.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is clear. First, let's figure out why the old ways of recognizing people just completely failed when everyone went remote.
Right. Where did the breakdown happen?
And then let's unpack the solutions. The source material lays out these 7 pillars, a systematic approach needed for today's reality, for 2025 and beyond.
Let's dive in. Where did the old system fracture?
It feels like remote work just fundamentally broke the old recognition model, didn't it? Those casual things, hallway high fives, birthday cake in the break room, even just seeing who stayed late.
Gone. Overnight. And those weren't just nice things. They were informal data points for managers.
Data points. How so?
Well, managers relied on that physical presence, that spontaneous interaction to gauge effort, collaboration, who was going the extra mile. You didn't always need a formal system back then.
You could just see it.
You could see it. Remote work shattered those informal channels. The psychological distance meets the physical distance.
And this leads to biases, right? The out of sight, out of mind problem.
Exactly. Managers are human. They fall prey to cognitive biases. Proximity bias is a big one. We tend to overvalue contributions from people we physically see more often.
So the person in the office gets more credit than the person dialing in, even if the remote person did more.
It happens all the time. And there's recency bias, too, remembering the contributions of people you interacted with most recently.
Which, again, likely favors the in-office folks in a hybrid setup.
Precisely. It creates serious equity issues. The person working effectively from a different time zone might just fade into the background, simply because they aren't physically present during the manager's core hours.
So this lack of visibility isn't just accidental. It's almost baked into the situation without intentional countermeasures.
It is. And our sources identify 3 really critical recognition gaps that emerge from this.
Okay, what are they?
First, the visibility gap. Managers just can't easily see those above and beyond moments anymore. Someone helping a colleague on Slack, someone troubleshooting late at night.
Unless it's explicitly reported, it's like it never happened.
Right. And this often hits quieter, more introverted employees harder. They might not trumpet their own achievement.
Okay, visibility gap. What's next?
The timeliness gap. This one's about impact. Recognition loses its punch if it's delayed.
You mean waiting for the weekly check-in or the status report?
Yeah. If you find out about someone's great work days later saying good job, then feels flat. The moment's passed. The psychological boost, that reinforcement, it's significantly diminished. It feels like ticking a box.
Instead of genuine, in-the-moment appreciation.
Exactly. And the third one, maybe the most corrosive, is the equity gap.
This goes back to the bias issue.
It does. It's the systematic difference in who gets acknowledged. In office versus remote, one time zone versus another. Without a structured approach, certain groups just get consistently overlooked.
And that's just poison for morale and retention, surely.
Absolutely. You're telling high performers through inaction that their location matters more than their contribution. That erodes trust incredibly quickly.
It's not just bad management, then. It's a failure of the company's basic operating system for a distributed world.
That's a great way to put it. It's an infrastructure failure. But, and this is crucial, the flip side is also true.
Meaning?
When companies get this right, when they build the right infrastructure for recognition. The results are striking.
Okay, let's hear it.
The data shows that organizations with strong systematic recognition programs, they see 21% higher profits
21% higher profits.
and 18% lower turnover.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't a nice to have. This is core business performance.
It becomes an engine for stability and growth, not just a perk.
All right, so let's talk about building that engine. The source material mentions 7 pillars, but let's focus on the ones driving that big ROI you mentioned. Pillar 1 seems foundational. Make it frequent and immediate.
Yes, frequency is critical. The stat that really stands out here is employees recognized weekly are 9 times more likely to feel a sense of belonging compared to those only getting monthly nods.
9 times. So weekly isn't just a goal, it's the baseline.
It really has to be the minimum standard for keeping people engaged remotely. Monthly is just too infrequent.
But how do managers keep up with weekly recognition for potentially large teams, especially when they have that visibility gap we talked about? It sounds overwhelming.
It would be overwhelming if it all fell on the manager manually. That's where automation comes in. This is key.
Automating what specifically?
Things like milestones, work anniversaries, birthdays, maybe even project completions. The system should trigger these automatically. It ensures consistency.
Takes the remembering burden off the manager.
Exactly. It guarantees a baseline level of acknowledgement across the board, freeing up managers for more personalized, timely recognition when they do see something specific.
Okay, so automation handles consistency. That leads nicely into pillar 2, which is about expanding who gives recognition, empowering peer-to-peer.
This is huge because often peers have much better visibility into daily contributions than managers do.
They're in the trenches together, so to speak.
Right. They see the quick assist on Slack, the person who stayed late to help them hit a deadline, things a manager might never know about.
And the data backs this up financially, too.
It does. Peer-to-peer recognition systems generate, believe it or not, 35.7% better financial results compared to programs where only managers give recognition.
35% better results just by letting colleagues recognize each other.
Yeah, it distributes the load, taps into better visibility, and frankly, builds a stronger culture of appreciation. It solves that manager bottleneck.
Okay, frequent automated baseline, plus peer-to-peer. Pillar 3 is about making sure the recognition actually means something, right? Aligning it with company values.
Yes, this is crucial for avoiding empty praise. Great job is nice, but it doesn't reinforce culture or specific behaviors.
It doesn't teach anyone anything.
Exactly. Recognition needs to be specific. It needs to tie back to how the work was done and connect that to a company value.
Can you give an example? The difference between generic and value-aligned.
Sure. Instead of just saying, hey, great work on that project report, you might say, your detailed analysis in that report really exemplified our thoroughness value. You identified 3 risks we hadn't considered, which was critical. See the difference?
Yeah, one is just a platitude. The other reinforces a specific desired behavior linked to a core value. It makes the value real, tangible.
And teachable. Others see that recognition and understand what thoroughness looks like in practice.
Okay, so we've got the what and why. Now the how, implementation. Pillars 6 and 4 seem critical here. Integration and flexibility. You can have the best strategy, but if it's clunky to use...
It dies. Friction kills adoption. That's the absolute truth. If people have to stop their work, open a new tab, remember a password, log into a separate recognition platform.
They just won't do it, especially not frequently.
Exactly. Participation plummets. We see single-digit engagement sometimes with standalone tools.
So what's the answer?
Integration. Native integration. The recognition needs to happen where the work is already happening.
You mean inside tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams?
Precisely. Platforms that integrate seamlessly there see 3 to 5 times higher participation. Because recognizing someone becomes as easy as, say, adding an emoji reaction or typing a quick message in a channel they're already in.
Remove the friction, and the desired behavior recognition flows naturally.
That's the principle. And Pillar 4, flexibility, tackles the reward side of recognition, especially for global teams.
Right, the equity issue again. A US-only Amazon gift card doesn't help your engineer in Lisbon much.
Not at all. One-size-fits-all rewards just don't work remotely. You need global flexibility. A catalog with hundreds of options, different gift cards for different countries, charitable donations, maybe professional development credits.
So the employee earns points, maybe, and then chooses something actually meaningful and usable for them, wherever they are.
Yes. That ensures the reward feels like a genuine benefit, not an oversight.
The source material even compares platforms. It highlights how some tools treat recognition as an add-on, creating that friction we talked about. Like Lattice.
Yeah, Lattice is often mentioned. Great tool for performance management overall,
Yeah.
but sometimes recognition feels like a secondary feature,
Meaning?
meaning it might not have that super tight integration, reporting might be a bit clunky, and sometimes there are high annual minimum spends, like $4,000 or more, just to get the recognition module.
Which creates a barrier for smaller teams or companies just starting out.
It can, yeah. And it reinforces that extra step problem that hurts frequency.
And Bamboo HR. Similar issue.
Similar idea. Fantastic core HR platform, but recognition often requires separate add-ons.
So escalating costs, potentially still not perfectly integrated with communication tools.
Right. The ideal, according to the data, seems to be those platforms built around the entire employee experience, where recognition, communication, feedback, it's all woven together seamlessly. Less friction, higher impact.
Makes sense. Okay, we've built the system. People are using it because it's easy. Now, pillar 7, measure and optimize. We need data, not just good feelings.
Absolutely. You have to manage recognition like any other critical business process with data.
What are the key KPIs then? What should leaders be tracking?
Participation rates are crucial. Who is giving recognition? Who is receiving it? How often are there teams or departments where it's just not happening?
Identifying the recognition deserts.
Exactly. And critically, you need to track retention rates. Compare the turnover rate for employees who are frequently recognized versus those who aren't.
That's where you really prove the ROI.
That's the bottom line proof. And those dashboards, those analytics, they are your tool for ensuring equity.
How so?
They allow leaders to see if there are disparities between locations, departments, demographics. Are certain groups consistently getting less recognition? The data makes it visible so you can intervene before it becomes a crisis.
Proactive course correction using data. Love it. Okay, final bit looking ahead. The sources touch on the future. AI. Personalization.
Yeah, it's moving beyond just automation. We're heading towards AI-powered intelligence.
What does that look like?
Think predictive analytics. The system might flag employees who seem to be at risk of leaving based on declining recognition patterns or other engagement data.
An early warning system.
Right. And AI could also suggest recognition opportunities to managers.
Okay, hold on. Does that risk making it feel robotic? Or insincere? My AI told me to thank you.
That's a really important question. The sources suggest the AI's role is primarily to overcome the visibility and memory gap. It spots the opportunity.
Ah, so it surfaces the what, but the manager still handles the why and how.
Exactly. The prompt might be, hey, it looks like Sarah just shipped her third major feature this quarter, consistently hitting deadlines. Maybe recognize her reliability. The AI does the noticing. The manager provides the genuine, personalized message, linking it to values.
Got it. So it augments the manager, doesn't replace the human element.
That's the goal. And the other trend is hyper-personalization, letting employees actually indicate their preferences.
Like, I prefer public praise in the team channel versus I'd rather get a private thank you message.
Precisely. Giving people agency in how they're recognized makes it even more meaningful.
So wrapping this up, the message seems incredibly clear.
It really is. Recognition isn't fluff. It's not just a nice to have. It's fundamental infrastructure for keeping your workforce stable, engaged, and productive in today's world.
It's the difference between being an employer people want to work for and one they leave.
An employer of choice versus an employer of last resort, as some put it.
And the numbers back it up. 21% higher profits, 18% lower turnover. It's hard to argue with that.
You really can't. The cost of inaction, that $1.9 trillion productivity loss, the high cost of turnover, it dwarfs the investment needed to do this right.
The sources basically say the question isn't if you should invest, but how can you possibly afford not to?
Given the stakes, yeah. The market is demanding this adaptation.
Okay, that leaves us with our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away. We know 82% of remote workers feel unrecognized. So think about your workplace, your team's workflow right now. What's the single biggest friction point? Not a lack of budget or caring, but a simple process hurdle that stops peer recognition from happening easily and frequently.
Where's that tiny bit of sand in the gears?
If you could remove that one barrier, maybe related to that integration point we discussed, how much more recognition could flow freely starting today? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. Until next time.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.